Moving through the waters to Cayman Brack and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm telling you, some days you think you're so close that your foot is to the fire, but it's all in good order. Well, I'm honored to be able to start off a discussion today with our excellent friends from Cayman Enterprise City. So please, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Everybody probably says, look at that, it's Tuesday. That's been a joke of the day. So we'll get there 2022. Wow, what better way? It's Tuesday. My good friend from some part of the world would say that, and it would sound like this every Tuesday. But today, as we laugh, as we live, hopefully we'll show a little bit of love and we'll learn. Honored to welcome from Cayman Enterprise City, the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Charlie Coconut. Always a pleasure, my friend, to see you, and thanks for braving the rain and getting your hair wet. More than likely, I have the same issue today, so good to see you.
always a pleasure to be here.
All right, and as much as I'm honored to see you, I don't get the honor often to see and speak with Ms. Cindy O'Hara as a Chief Development Officer. When in the early days, from what was a dream and the early sort of sketches and schematics to now, realization, 10 years on?
10 years on.
Wow.
Yeah. A passion project, as they say.
You know, they say you find something, Charlie. You find someone to help you with that something. And then you find a society that has drawn alongside to see the importance of, if he doesn't mind me sharing, Mr. Bill Adam talking about the cathedral builders. You labor now and centuries on. You may not necessarily be around. I mean, I will, more than likely. Still healthy, still happy, still going. But that thing, and we go back to history, we see, what may be just the remnants, but we actually still see the thing in existence. That's what makes a society strong, whether it's a tree or whether it's the Sistine Chapel, or it could be, your grandfather. But Charlie, for you, as we start things off, thanks for the opportunity to talk with you, promote it, celebrate, and to, from my perspective, get a society to come to expect great things of what we do with our time, our talent, our resources. 10 years ago, if you were looking forward, what would you have said? Would it be where you are?
It's really hard to say. Sometimes in this project, 10 years ago seems like just yesterday, and sometimes it seems like a lot longer than 10 years. So sometimes it is difficult to reflect and remember, exactly what you thought was going to happen and when and so on. But I can say that we're very, very proud of where we are 10 years down the road. I think some of the initial timelines were more aggressive than were achievable, but we never gave up. We never stopped working, and we kept plugging ahead and grinding it out day after day. And to have arrived at the place where we are 10 years later, I think is there's a lot for us as a group to be very, very proud of, and I think there's a lot for Cayman to be very, very proud of. In connection with what the Special Economic Zones project has achieved.
Right, Cindy. I mean, I joke and jest, but very seriously, sometimes so many of us, we talk about living in this world where everything is instant. You want an instant response to that question that you were probably, not you personally, contemplating for years, but you ask it of your teacher, of your parent, of your coworker, and you want an immediate response. And if it isn't what you want to hear, well, go back and think about it. Well, I would have done that. You eat something, you want to see the benefit right away. Everything is instant. And yet when we look at our own ancestral links, we see that they took time. They made provision. We go back to the early days of this conversation, just us informally, a research triangle. Here's the university, here's the business, and there's this thing. But you've created something even greater. What was it like? I mean, what motivated you to do this, to want to get involved? How did you get involved? And bring this whole project to fruition. I mean, it's no longer a concept in one's mind. It's a reality in a sense.
I think as architects, coming out of school, and I'm not going back that far, but what I mean by that is as architects, we're constantly visualizing the future. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's our way, So when we describe, especially to our clients who can't even imagine what the future might look like, we already have an image in our head even before we put a pen to that paper, because I think that's part of, I guess you could say, the miracle of architecture and architecture school is that constantly looking forward. So when the opportunity to work on this project came along, I honestly thought, wow, this will be like 10 years of continuous architecture. I didn't think of it as what it was going to be, at the very beginning, what it is now. I was back then I was looking at it as I just finished the building right next door to us, the government building, and I was thinking, what am I going to do next? But it comes down to this. I thought this is going to be amazing. This is 10 years of design work for me, and I always said this is like a dream project, right? So that's kind of how it started for me. I met with all things good start with coffee, and I met with coffee. And we sat down and discussed it with some of the local attorneys at the time, and I can tell you I was excited by the possibilities. I already envisioned the city that could be there, and I think pretty much I started sketching almost immediately, and the project kind of took wings so quickly. It started from an idea to a discussion then with the government. Then it grew so quickly into this project, and as Charlie and I would say, it was like winning the presidency. We got through the first year of getting through all of the paperwork and the laws and the agreements and that sort of thing, and then you get to the end of that and you go, okay, now we have to do something with it. We have to build something. We have to create a company, and that's where it all started.
Yeah, Charlie. One thing I'll say on kind of following on from what Cindy said is that, of course, like every project, it's never always smooth sailing. And, one thing that that I do remember from the early days was that, again, it was there was some very aggressive timelines and things that were going to happen, within a certain period and so on, which were, as it turns out, unrealistic. But and by the end of late 2012, I think we were not delivering on not only on the grand initial kind of, how shall I say, promises, but we were failing to deliver, I think, on the tremendous potential for the that the project held. It led us to make some significant changes internally to the leadership of our project. And we essentially, even though we launched as a project in February of 2012, with by around a year later, we were essentially having to regroup and I wouldn't say begin again, but regroup and refocus, and with new leadership and new fully Caymanian leadership, which we're very proud of. And that is really that kind of became the foundation of where we are today. Mm-hmm. So there was absolutely, it's a fantastic project. There's a grand vision, and that grand vision still exists. Mm-hmm. Took us like I said, the very aggressive kind of timelines that we set initially were not realistic, but here we are, and we're well on our way, and I think there's a lot for us to be proud of, over what we've managed to achieve.
Right. Well, when we come out from the break, you used the phrase, it wasn't smooth sailing. Could we ask after the break, were there particular challenges? What were some of the bigger or biggest challenge even that you felt that you either had to overcome, maybe still working on and trying to overcome? Could we talk about that? Because I think why I'm asking that of you, so that as a wider public, we start to appreciate that anything. So start with a dream and a vision. You have a passion. And like our parents, you work towards it. Don't expect that overnight immediate success and gratification. You want to lose weight? Let's start with, I want to lose 10 pounds. Let me start with an ounce, maybe a pound. And why not over 1 month? Give yourself a year. Be realistic with it. Be consistent. So we can talk about some of those things, and maybe it'll inspire people, and maybe it'll show us where we can be in a few years, Charlie. Over the pool table and a coffee. All right. I'm excited. I want you to be too. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer. The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks again for joining us. And I'm truly honored if I can say this, and hopefully it won't be seen as being anything other than respectful, responsible, truly, admirable from my perspective, of what has been achieved and the vision, to know that we have this passion, this intellect, this enthusiasm, and the dogged determination, I think, to see things through. I don't know about anybody else, but I know a lot of us, and sometimes when I look in the mirror, I even see the person reflected. Boy, January 1st, I gotta get back on this, I gotta start doing that. January 2nd, that can wait till tomorrow. But to see this consistent effort from the leadership team over at Cayman Enterprise City, Charlie Kirkconnell and Cindy O'Hara, publicly, I commend you for it. I was asking, just, as we went into the break, challenges that you overcome, challenges that you're working on. I mean, maybe that's not the right word, but share with me, Charlie. Start with you.
Sure. Our biggest challenge initially was convincing, knowledge and technology-based companies that this was a place for them to, kind of set up and operate physically. So to actually open an office, in the Cayman Islands. Cayman has obviously done, financial services and tourism are our big industries, and convincing a financial services company that this is a great place to live and work and to set up an operation is perhaps not as difficult, but certainly when you enter into these new sectors, then we would get questions about who else has done this, and initially getting some traction was an issue because people just didn't picture Cayman as a place to set up a knowledge and technology focused business, and also I think it's well known that we as far as operating companies setting up a genuine physical presence in Cayman in general, that's not that there's historically that was not a very common thing, if you will.
Right.
Certainly setting up a registered office and those sorts of things, lots of that, but actually putting people physically in an office here was something that we had to convince people made sense.
Right. I can imagine. Cindy, what about you? I mean, anything in particular that either challenging or even inspiring? But I'll leave it to you.
I mean, there's always two sides to the coin, right? We had to set up and attract, but we also had to find land. We had to get planning permissions. There's so many, I guess you could say, hurdles. You could call them challenges as well, that we had to overcome. At the very beginning, the biggest obstacle was the land, right? And it wasn't because we were not considering different locations, but it was more of where would we be successful, right? What is the location we would be successful at? To be honest, with this project, I think we probably have broken some record about the most master plans in the most locations, because we had literally looked at almost every large property from East End to West Bay. And we had a master plan that we would kind of put on each of these sites to see how it would work. And then we would look at infrastructure and so forth. So that took a very long time to find the location. We had a number of starts where we almost went to planning for the planned area development. We had some locations that were further out of town. And, I like to believe that things happen for a reason. Sometimes it's a challenge and you're sitting down and you're going, it's almost a negative and you feel sad that a missed opportunity almost. And then you look back on it and you go, thank goodness that didn't happen. Thank goodness we didn't end up in East End. Thank goodness we didn't end up in and not because of any other reason than maybe location but mostly location. We had overlooked, if you want to call it that, Charlie, we had overlooked the South Sound property that we are now, because Charlie's family felt that, even Charlie in the back of his mind felt that it wasn't developable because it is a very, and we're talking from the, what do you think, 70s, 60s?
60s and 70s. It
was considered very difficult to develop there. So the projects that they had planned as a family hadn't gone forward. And many years later, looking at the location, we realized, listen, it's a fantastic location. The property is ideal from so many reasons, but we're literally central. I am very selfishly loving the location because I live very close by and I can almost walk down there. But I will tell you, being 5 minutes from the airport, being 5 minutes from pretty much everywhere is awesome because of the new roads and the new bypasses and so forth. So our current location, which we had settled on, I would think about 5 years in, or 4 years in, because it was 2015 when we got our pad approved. I couldn't think of us anywhere else. and the development from there. We had many planning permissions. We have, and each one of these, they take a lot of time. You know how it works. I mean, you can imagine for a house. You can imagine something as big as a city. But so those were the challenges. There were some disappointments. There were setbacks. There were, timing issues. But all of those things, when I look back at them, they seem almost insignificant, even though at the time they felt huge. Yeah. You're kind of left sometimes. Charlie and I used to say on Friday was the day for getting some bad news because it would ruin your weekend. But we would literally become quite depressed at some of these moments. But I look back now and I go, they were so, they feel so long ago. And today we're under construction. I like to think what's great about having a business partner like Charlie is that we literally meet. We can do 3 or 4 hours at a time, get everything done, and we change course. We change direction. We make decisions that actually change the direction. If it's going in the wrong direction, we can sit and we can do that. And I think there's merit to that when you have a project of this scale. And there's definitely merit to the fact that we are constantly evolving, not only as a company, but just generally. Mm-hmm. And that helps us to kind of redirect. So, 2015 to now, let's look at it this way. 2015 was the original master plan. To now, we've changed, So I'm really excited about our future. We have a building under construction, another one starting soon. We have some really exciting parts to that over the next 10. So I've said to myself, you know what? We're going to build a city in the next 10 years. So for me, this is the beginning, And the city, which has a lot of momentum right now, is moving forward. And I love that. So for me, the happiest time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, as I listen to you, I mean, our parents often say, not every disappointment is a misfortune. And if we, look at it from what you shared, we can see the staying power we should have, the consistency, the concerted effort. But you're doing something that is going to impact everything in a positive way. So site and setting is important. If I might though, we see a lot in the Cayman context and even other parts of the world where the stamp, if you wish, sometimes is imprinted by something else for some other reason. In this instance of Cayman Enterprise City, is it important that this is led by young, intelligent, ambitious Caymanians like yourself that know and feel that, the soil is in your...
I don't say no to that question.
Well, yeah, we think that it is important because the project is in and of itself very important and very important to, we certainly consider very important to the future, of the Cayman Islands, the diversification of its economy, the attraction of new innovative industries to the Cayman Islands, which will create opportunities, new types of exciting opportunities for young Caymanians. And so, given the importance of the project, we do feel that it's important that it is led by Caymanians because we have a stake. We don't have anywhere else to go. I think I've said that on your show before. So we have a stake in what happens here. We're not leaving. We're not here to make a quick buck. We're here to do the right thing the right way over the long term. And we have in mind that this is our home, and it's important to us that it develops in the right way, and that our project plays a significant role in that.
Yeah. Cindy, if I'm not talking literally out of school, I remember many of the exciting conversations I would just sit and listen to. You would tell me about some innovations and smart buildings. I think it might have been a phrase I recall. Whether that's correct, you let me know. And you come into the room and then, wireless light switches. I'm thinking, how does electricity get from here to here? And you were telling me all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
And this was like 500 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, and it's those details that are my favorite part, and you can look at the big picture, which is also fun. But I have to change hats very quickly. I'm making decisions on everything from a chair all the way up to what kind of lock will be on a door. But the technology that we have now makes it so exciting for us. And as you said, I mean, now you don't need to have switches. You have your phone, or for entrance to your office, you have your phone instead of keys. We've tried to incorporate those things into this design because the technology, and it's not, it's not to have them just because they're cool, but is it useful? Right? Yeah. And does it work? And I think the other side is, can we afford it? I mean, I'm just being honest. Yeah. We have a budget, and we have to follow that budget. So keeping all of those things in mind, there's some challenges in that as well. But I think there's a weight given to having things that are not gimmicky, if you want, but actually work. And so we are implementing those into the building, and it's exciting for me.
Okay. I mean, as I listen to you think back to some of us who, through our readings or other exposure, travel included, these cities of the future, and they're not futuristic in the sense that they're a dream and not attainable. You have something that is raising the bar, but it is also attainable, realizable, and I'm excited to see it. With that, sort of what Charlie said, do the right thing, and in the right time, in the right way, and so on. So we hear about sustainable design, responsible design. Does that have a particular connotation and a special implication for you guys? Not just from the design perspective, but the implementation, the management, the maintenance, the longevity?
Absolutely. We, the right thing, the right way, I think is a great guide, and the long term, sustainability of the project and the industries that are being attracted to Cayman, and the career opportunities and all of those sorts of things. It's very important to us that we approach this from the right angle, that we keep it on track, and that we deliver the right type of product for Cayman.
Okay. I'm excited, and Ms. Susan, we gonna do that break? Is that it? Yeah. I wasn't on a good side earlier. I probably won't get there until tomorrow, but I'll work on it today. But when I come back, could we take some time, and I want you to share more with us, and not let me monopolize it, but ask about the vision going forward, some of the things thus far, and paint a picture not just for the next 10 years, but maybe for the next century even. But share with us, because this is where we have a buy-in and we start to appreciate it. And then what is the campus looking like? As I say, a new city, right?
Yeah, look forward to it.
All right, stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The liquor licensing boards of Grand Cayman and the Sister Islands advise liquor and music and dancing licensees that normal permitted hours are now in effect. License holders are reminded to follow the operating terms and conditions listed on their licenses, which specify what their opening and closing hours should be. For more details, please call the Department of Commerce and Investment on 945-0943 in Grand Cayman and 948-2400 in the Sister Islands, or email info@dci.gov.ky.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments until February 17th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited, whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
The 2022 Cayman Arts Festival is pleased to showcase their newest feature with the K Forte String Quartet featuring Sarah Newman, Harriet Henley, Joan Tamayo and Antonio Sanchez, performing Baroque-era pieces by Handel, Bach, Corelli, Vivaldi, Telemann and Purcell. Fall in love with the passionate quartets of the violins, a viola and cello. Thursday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. Tickets are US $40 for adults and $10 for students. For more information or to purchase tickets, please contact enquiries at caymanartsfestival.com or call 922-5550. The K Forte String Quartet, Thursday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. And unlike Vegas, what's said during the breaks stays during the breaks. Vegas, we read about it on the front page, especially if you use your credit card. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Make a note, I'm honored that Charlie Kirkconnell and Cindy O'Hara, the CEO, together with the Chief Development Officer, joins us. And Cayman Empire City has been a vision and a realization. Maybe I was asking a couple of questions, but before I do, Charlie, is there anything particularly you want to share as we go in? Because I really am interested in wanting to know where are we going to go from here and some of the other things. But maybe there's a few things you might want to jump in, given that.
Sure. From my side and from Cindy's side, there's kind of two answers to that question of where we go in the future. And Cindy will talk a lot about the development itself. From my side, on the business development side, what we're aiming for is more of the same. We feel like we're on an excellent path at the moment. That there's the opportunity for exponential growth, given how we now have now shown that this is an excellent location for your knowledge and technology focused business, and kind of putting pieces together that were each of them, some of them small, some of them bigger, that were missing from the Cayman Islands value proposition that now we've added, and they're now working, and they're now positioning us to actually experience that exponential growth. Our plan is to just kind of keep plugging along and just keep growing in the way that we're growing. Something that I would like to talk a little bit about from back to kind of the questions about what was it like in the beginning and so on. We felt like there was in somewhere late 2013, one of the very important turning points from my perspective for the project was we were encouraged to enter a competition that was put on by the Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies. We did enter, and we won the special award. And the special award was, we were competing against established businesses that had thousands of employees in other places around the Caribbean. But we won the special award for the potential of our project to I wouldn't hesitate to use the word transform, but to significantly, impact the Cayman Islands and its trajectory as far as relates to knowledge and technology-focused businesses, setting up a genuine physical presence in the country, and how that would impact the direction of of Cayman. So that was a turning point for us, because it kind of said to us, okay, this is outside of the Cayman Islands' recognition of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and really encouraged us to stay on the path and continue what we were doing. And I think that plays into where are we headed in the 10 years ahead, or in the decades ahead. It kind of crystallized for us, in late 2013, that this is the path, and let's get on it. Let's focus on it. Let's work hard at it. And in 10 years' time, we'll be having this conversation with Sterling Dwayne, and talking about how do we grow it exponentially in the decades ahead.
That's something was to jump in. I was going to say before, because there are a number of significantly recognizable entities in the different zones that have come on board. I think too many times in Cayman we don't realize globally the significance of these projects, of these names, of these entities, and the connection, especially with this idea that it's an information economy, knowledge-based industries. We are service-oriented society. How that could impact us, employment, entrepreneurship, and just opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the one misconception that we sometimes deal with is that people. Okay, be careful how I say what I say, but there's a little bit of a misconception that the companies in the special economic zone are not really significant global enterprises, and we have a broad variety of companies at all different stages of development, all different sizes. But some of the biggest companies in the world have a physical presence in the Cayman Islands now, because of the special economic zone, and those that's creating opportunities, career opportunities, for young Caymanians now, and will continue to do so in the years ahead.
The education, the benefit, seeing their physical presence is important, especially in a global economy. But having that bridge and that access is invaluable.
I think when you think of the project, people don't think what we think, which is a community. We're building a community, and so it's from both sides. It's not only the physical community, but it's the community, the people, and catering to their needs. But I think Charlie, if I could give him, a lot of credit, he is really building a community, and that is, it's not, you could sit back, we could think of ourselves in many different ways, and I think the outside world maybe thinks of us as, we're trying to attract this business, and then we just let them loose, we don't, that we don't try to help them grow, we don't try to create that community that would benefit them, and I think that's the difference. We have so many socials. I think it's like weekly. We try to connect all of these companies but more the people together, because that's where the true growth is, right? It's building that community. So from the Cayman Enterprise City side, which is that we are continuing to grow our community, which is Charlie's point. This is what we would love to do. So, growing the community is, as he said, more of what we're doing now is exactly where we would like to be, because that is literally changing Cayman, to have these intellectuals, but, these very smart people. But I think from the other side, which is my favorite part, obviously, and just the development side, it's creating a physical community, and so that's not just office buildings. We're not building an office park in the middle of nowhere. We're trying to create the entire package that people can live, they can, it's wellness. So for me, you hit on sustainability, but what does that mean? There's so many people, that is like a buzzword, right? Being sustainable, being green. Green and sustainable, totally different. For me, sustainability is longevity, right? It's building something that lasts. It's building a community that lasts. So it's not just looking at it from the point of view of a building that's going to be here for 50, 60, 100 years. It's actually looking at it from, will the community be vibrant when you create that, right? Yeah. So the master plan has to include more than just, a place that Cayman Enterprise City exists in. It's living, working, creating a sustainable, but I like to call it wellness. You include those things, then it will be vibrant. Then it will actually be, the type of community that I want to live in. So I'm constantly looking at it from that point of view. Where would I want to live, and how would I want to live? So I think it all comes into that. And when I say wellness, you were talking about the water for all of us, but it's just the Caribbean. People move here to be in the Caribbean. They don't want to be in a situation where it could be, you could take a snapshot, it could be anywhere, So I'm always re-looking at Cayman, re-looking at not architecture, but the best parts, which is the outside, not just the inside. So how do those spaces work? And those are the most expensive, they're the most fun and the most experience driven. And we have a river. I think we've got some pretty, I guess you could call them ambitious, but I look at it as, trying to keep it as simple as possible so that it can really work. And so we have some amazing, we've got a river. We have a path that literally you can run around this water feature. I call it that because we're making it, right? But the idea that reclaiming our indigenous plants and planting things that I grew up with, running through the bush. I grew up with all these plants around me, and it's looking at it from a point of view of recreating that joy that I had as a child in our natural wilderness.
As I said, Charlie, in a number of times, hopefully publicly, that this hopefully will inspire many of us to dream and to take action. But as you shared, it isn't for today or isn't even for money. It's longevity. It's just like our parents. I mean, the catboat was everything because it was meaningful. It had purpose. It had a sense of connectivity. You have the catboat, of the future in a sense. It's everything over. So maybe our next discussion could be 4 hours long. We still probably wouldn't exhaust it. What else you want to share with us, Charlie?
The last thing I'd like to say, and kind of coming back to the discussion on this being a Caymanian-led and owned project, and the importance of that. I think it's important for the development of the right thing, doing the right thing the right way, all of that. But I think another very important point that that we've proven over the last 10 years is that Caymanians can do this. And I think often, when there's a big project like a Cayman Enterprise City or something like that, we look to people from outside of Cayman to be the leaders of that project. I think we have proven through our hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and success that it's possible for local people to play a very, very significant role in these projects, to even lead these projects, and for it to be very successful. So,
well, I look at the Goldfield as the example, not just because my granduncle was a captain, but because it was a lifeline. The trade winds talk about where are your heroes, West Indies. Well, with great deference to all and sunder from anywhere and everywhere. Well, as Charlie said, we need to look within, to our own, to see the expertise, to see the competence, to see the resolve, the resilience, and apply that so that we're encouraged, motivated, and can
Radio Cayman maintain.
Right, Cindy?
Well, as Caymanians, we've all been there. I think we've all had a moment where somebody maybe discounted us because they thought we were great for Cayman, but not what I call a world, point of view. I think world class is the words, right? Because we sit back and we've constantly been, I think, marginalized almost.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to turn this into that type of conversation, but it's true. We all, hey, I'm a woman who was told not to be an architect because that's actually aging me, so I feel terrible by saying this. Right?
I'm glad you said it. I didn't.
I was told don't be an architect because women don't become architects.
And
this is what I was told, and I still said no. This is what I want to do, and my parents encouraged me. And I said my class had, if you would, 20 women. We're still friends to this day, but it's like out of hundreds. Luckily, I went to a small school, Toronto. No, I'm just kidding. Toronto was a big school, but School of Architecture was a small school at the time. But I look at it now, and I think those obstacles were nothing in comparison to the kind of obstacles that we have daily. But Charlie and I mean, we've been friends. I don't even know how long. We keep joking about it, but, almost birth.
I can remind you how long.
Yeah, we've been friends, from prep school. So, there are pictures of us, in our little prep school uniforms. It's
Don't look them
scary.
up.
Don't look them up.
I did.
No, and the reason that I'm saying that is that these connections as Caymanians that we make, our friends, our friendships are different worldwide, right? When when you live in a big country, you tend to travel, you tend to live in different locations. But for us, we are so close. We're always close. And the friends that we had when we were little become our friends as we grow old. And those friendships are important, and those business relationships are important.
Right. Well, I thank you for taking this time, literally for spending your time and your money and effort and energy here and in the community. Please, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you individually as I am, publicly and privately. So commend you both for it. All right. Makes you feel good, man.
Thank you.
All right. Charlie Kirkconnell, Cindy O'Hara. See what leadership and vision can do when you're connected to the soil. Well, let's draw and have that respect to be inspired by you both.
I'm going to quote you on that one. That's a good one.
Go right ahead. See. Yeah. All right. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, more talk today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. OGR has further expanded the support it provides for new parents by enhancing the maternity, parental, adoption, and surrogacy leave benefits in the Cayman Islands. These changes make OGR's the most expansive family leave benefits of any offshore firm. The firm now offers 18 weeks paid and 34 weeks unpaid maternity leave across its offices in Cayman. In international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin's late-night televised speech from the Kremlin, just hours after talks of a summit, was laced with anger, historical grievances, and challenges to the West, says the BBC. With this speech, Putin has ceded no ground on his key security demands. NATO expansion must be rolled back, and Ukrainian membership is a red line. He complained that Russia's concerns had been ignored as irrelevant for years and accused the West of trying to contain Russia as a resurgent global force. Colombia's Constitutional Court has decriminalized abortions within the first 24 weeks of pregnancy. Under the new rules, no one will be prosecuted for having an abortion within that time frame. Since 2006, abortions have been allowed in Colombia in cases of rape, when the woman's life is at risk, or if the pregnancy is not viable. United States forward Alex Morgan says a monumental step forward has been taken after the women's national team reached agreement with the governing body U.S. Soccer on equal pay. The players will receive $24 million, and U.S. Soccer has pledged equal pay for the men's and women's teams across all competitions, including the World Cup. All 28 squad members filed a discrimination lawsuit in March 2019. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
James Nathaniel Tibbetts, J.P., 1886 to 1967. Mr. Nat Tibbetts was a renowned shipbuilder, businessman, justice of the peace, and citizen of Cayman Brac. He was loved and respected throughout the island and was often consulted by people facing crucial decisions and difficulties. With his father, James Tibbetts, and his brothers, Burdett and Ross, he built and sold 11 sailing ships during the early 1900s. After losing his right arm in his mid-40s due to fish bristle infection and the death of his brothers, Mr. Nat operated a store and pioneered in the production of soft drinks, supplying all 3 Cayman Islands for almost 25 years. His plantations provided employment for others and provisions for his and his brother's family. Mr. Nat was a role model for his sons and other young men of the community, teaching them, along with the principles of carpentry, boat building, navigation, and seamanship, a good work ethic and the value of respect and perseverance. He and his beloved wife, Elsie Nee Hunter, with whom he had 7 children, set high standards for their family by emphasizing a Christian lifestyle.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
It was Thursday, February 23rd, 1905, that Rotary was born. The vision of one man, Paul Harris. Thereafter, Rotary mushroomed beyond the Chicago club of 4 professional men from diverse backgrounds. Today, Rotary is the epitome of humanitarian service above self. Dynamic, active, effective. A global instrument in pursuit of peace. Working to resolve some of the world's most challenging problems. Indeed, Rotary helped to decide the United Nations Charter back in 1945. Rotary works to eradicate dreaded diseases. Today, we are steps away from a polio-free world. Rotary, fueling human development through varied and numerous global initiatives. Happy birthday, Rotary. 117 years of commitment to bettering humanity. From the Rotary and Rotaract families of the Cayman Islands. Rotary serves to change lives.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And for the next, remaining minutes of this discussion for the next scheduled break, it's an honor to be able to sit across from, 2 beaming, bright, bouncing ladies who always seem, enthusiastic and bring such joy and passion to what you do. That as a community, as we draw alongside, we appreciate that many hands do make light work, and if we are able to work together with love, sense of unity, compassion, and it makes life easier. So, Ms. Danny Coleman, always a pleasure, Mom.
It's always a pleasure to be here, and I know I'm usually talking about emergencies and disasters. Today we're talking about Jasmine and Flag Day, and we're just really excited to be here because it's such an important part of community outreach and fundraising, and it's what we do to pay the bills and make sure that anyone in Cayman can actually utilise our services free of charge. And of course that's really important, end of life care as well as palliative care.
Yeah, and this is where, as I was looking at a topic like this, very sensitive, sometimes emotive, and as much as we want to be respectful, sometimes we get challenging, right? But you bring, I think, through that joy and that love and that respect to people when we're at our most vulnerable. We're at that stage where we're hurting for every reason imaginable, and yet, to be able to say it's important now, taking on the chairmanship, the chairpersonship, the chairing. One more feather in your hat of many things that you do.
I've been involved in Jasmine for some time, and obviously I work there as a staff fundraising, so I know what Anzi does on a daily basis, which is really hardcore, because obviously you're competing against some fantastic charities in the Cayman Islands, and they all deserve, people's dollars and people's volunteering time. But also to come now from the chairman's side, is chairwoman's side or chairperson's side, it's just from the governance perspective, it's a really interesting shift. But again, having been on the grassroots level and being part of it, the fundraising is so critical to what we do. And again, also being a beneficiary, my father-in-law obviously was a patient, my grandma was a patient, so I've sort of seen it on different perspectives, but I absolutely love the charity. They do some tremendous work, we do some tremendous work, and it's just really exciting. Yeah.
Well, as Miss Marlin would always talk about, your time, your talent, and your treasure. Exactly. So from the perspective of the new sort of marketing and fundraiser manager, from that idea, it takes effort. It takes all these resources for things to happen. What is it, my friend, who says, if you want to change your body, first change your mind, right? You have that perspective. So welcome. Absolutely. And help us to not understand the role, but the importance, as Dana was saying. Sure. This is something that is beneficial to all of us.
It is. So Jasmine is 90% community funded and free for anyone in the community who needs our services. And it's really important that this is something that we're able to provide for people. Like you said, the people that we tend to are those that are often facing some of the most vulnerable and painful moments of their life. And to have that bit of care, I think, is a really incredible thing that we offer in the Cayman Islands that many countries don't have access to, especially free of charge, which is really incredible. The other side of that is my role, and that is fundraising. And this is my first time in this role kind of conducting the Flag Day, and it is really incredible to see. Currently, we have over 400 volunteers in the Cayman Islands who have stepped up to say, absolutely, let me get on board with Jasmine. We are going to make this the most incredible Flag Day we've ever had. And beyond that, it is various community groups. It's, Rotaries and Rotaracts and various companies that have said, we believe in what this is doing for our community. And it's just been absolutely incredible to see the real Cayman kind spirit come out, and for just these 2 days to essentially, we're going to paint the town blue with all of our blue T-shirts, and collect these funds to make sure all of our friends and neighbors who need either palliative care or end-of-life care or bereavement help have access to it free of charge.
And Flag Day is so important because, we do a lot of events, obviously. We've recently done the Burn Supper, we've done things around Christmas time, Light Up Her Life, and a lot of people will see Jasmine in different events. But I think the one beautiful thing in particular about Flag Day is that everyone can get involved. We have kids getting involved. We have dogs in Jasmine T-shirts. We have people juggling. My husband loves to juggle on Flag Day weekend. There's so many people that can just come together as a family unit to actually raise money together and have that sense of giving back. And also, I think on the other side of things, giving, some people can give lots of money. Well, some people can give 25 cents. Every single penny of this counts and it really goes towards a fantastic activities that we do at Jasmine.
Absolutely.
And as I listen to you, I recognize in almost every community, but we know within the Cayman context that there are individuals who, whether they're part of the church, but they're part of their community, they draw alongside families, help with the programming, help with the arrangement. And without them, you don't realize how difficult and challenging this would be. But here is something that you provide, and you said free. But it is only free because of the immense volunteers, support, financial, otherwise. This is where we come in, the 25 cents or the 25 million.
Exactly.
Whatever it is that you can give.
Jasmine is only able to provide these services for free because the Cayman community has been so generous, and we are so blessed to have so many people support what we do and see its value in the community. And it, especially for this Flag Day, we have some really exciting people who have stepped up and decided they're going to adopt a spot, essentially. So that means we've got companies that have said, I'm going to take on the Cost You Less location on Saturday, and everything that I raise there, I'm going to match. And I challenge other
companies to do the same. And so that is the kind of like grassroots support that we're talking about that has just kind of blown us all away.
It's good, healthy competition.
Yeah.
Like healthy competition.
With your acquiescence and certainly through you, if it's okay, I was just thinking, and unfortunately sometimes many of us don't appreciate, our parents may not charge us or something, but it's not free that we're getting this thing. And if our parents help us to appreciate that, listen, the electric bill is this, the water bill is this, the food bill, we're not expecting you to contribute to it, but to give you a sense of value for money and a respect for resources. Jasmine can't be inexpensive.
It's certainly not inexpensive.
You have professionals, the nursing team, the medical team, the other resources. I would imagine it must cost a few cents. You can share how much it is if you wish, but
a couple cents.
Yeah, it's probably not,
So we are just above the $800,000 a year in expenses. Think we're a small healthcare provider.
Yeah.
So imagine going to a hospital and needing a week's stay in the hospital and what kind of bill you might see there, especially if you didn't claim any insurance. That is what we are asking for the Cayman community to step up and provide for those that need hospice care, respite care, or palliative treatment. Most of what we do is in the community. We've found that a lot of people in Cayman love kind of having their loved one at home and caring for them at home. But when that gets to be more challenging than it is good for the heart, Jasmine is there to make sure all care is provided, and that does cost a pretty penny because it is 24-hour care in our villa. We
have 4 beds in the villa, and of course it's one of those things that we also do respite nowadays, so that's changed over the years. It was always sort of end-of-life care. Now we do potentially up to 2 weeks respite. So for families who are living this, and it really is hard, if you've ever been through this kind of journey, it's a very, very difficult one. You're trying to provide medical assistance, but you're also trying to, be the love, the daughter, the mother, the sister, whatever it might be. So those 2 weeks of getting that break where the patient will come and live in the villa with us, and the family can come and visit all day if they want to, but at least they're not having to do all the medical side. They can actually be there as that role of their daughter or mother or whatever it might be. It's just such an important time to get back.
We see the hospice end of life. You mentioned, the respite, which is essential. You want to be there for your family every second, but that's not possible. It's not healthy.
It's exhausting, and as far as the family go, and it's exhausting for the family to be doing all those roles, and especially the clinical care. If you're not a nurse and you're looking after a dying mother or father or whatever it might be, it takes away from that really important time you want to spend as being that person.
Yeah, and just to have like the time with the person instead of having the responsibility of providing care. We've found that is the biggest gift that Jasmine offers, is let us take the big stuff, let us take the clinical, let us take all of that, and then you get to just be family.
If this is inappropriate, you let me know. So, but as you said, I was just thinking.
We always will, Steve.
Yeah. I'm thinking of you who know, gladly you always enjoy cooking. So you're in the kitchen and you prepare the meal, and you now seated at the table with your family and closest friends to enjoy. That's great, but wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have all of that and you could just be part of the dining? So the meal is prepared as someone coming to the table.
Analogy. It's a good analogy, but it also leads me on to lunch club, because talking about cooking, we do actually do some really good holistic well-being services. So one of the things that we do things like animal therapy, music therapy, Reiki, massage, light touch yoga and so forth. But one of the really cool things that we've done for years, is what we call lunch club, and we get all the families in, bereaved families or patients as well, who want to have lunch and sit around the table and just talk and share stories and play dominoes or whatever it might be, and the staff cook that, so it's from the heart of the nurses who are cooking it, and it's just a really nice way to bond and share experiences and just support each other.
Well, I appreciate it, because some of the things I want to ask was, other services, we talk bereavement help, the palliative part. Maybe some of us don't yet know how to talk about this subject.
Sure.
Our loved one is going through it. It may have been 10 years ago, but for us it was just a few hours ago.
Right.
It's still very real, and I want to be sensitive, sensible, and utmost respectful to it. But the bereavement help that you reference, the palliative care, what is it, and how does that work, and how do we access it as well?
Sure. So for the bereavement, we do monthly group therapy. It is on Zoom right now, just to be a little bit more safe conscious. But we do offer free one-on-one counseling if, and it doesn't matter if your loved one was a patient with us or not. Doesn't matter if they were even in this country. It doesn't matter if it was yesterday or 10 years ago. If you are struggling with bereavement and grief, you can access Jasmine's services, either the group talk therapy or the one-on-one counseling for a couple sessions just to get you on the right road. And then that, again, with the lunch club, those people are also invited to join the lunch club. And that is simple as emailing info@jasmine.ky to say, I'd like to be on the list, and make sure that you receive the invitations and the menus when lunch
Good
club.
food.
It's really
Really
good food. I tell you what.
It's at lunchtime, and I'll probably have something to do there.
You and I are stuck in here,
But I say that in jest because I think sometimes we don't appreciate how important it is to be with other people who have experienced that.
It's a sense of community with people, because grief can sometimes feel very lonely. But if you have other people who and it's not all we're talking about is grief. It's not bringing you down. It is just having a sense of community and some fellowship time with people that understand. So it's a lot of just feeling accepted. And feeling like you have a safe place to turn to when things get hard.
I mean, I remember the palliative conference that you would have every so often. And the reason why I want us to appreciate this as a public, that when we give in our, Flag Day, we'll give our resources, financial in this instance, this is where the money goes. This is the benefit of all and sundry, irrespective of how we may appreciate it from our personal perspective. Having it available is beneficial. Flag Day. Well, you said Flag Day, but this is what?
Flag
Friday.
days. Flag days. Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
Well, Friday and Saturday is probably one day. Friday.
No, it's Friday. First thing, 7 a.m. in the morning. You'll see us all over the town for 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh man, look forward to it.
It's called Flag Day Weekend, exactly.
It is Flag Day Weekend, and we will be
creative language
everywhere. I think we've got maybe 20 some odd locations, 25 each day. We're going to be definitely at all of the Foster's locations, Kirk's, Hurley's, Blackbeard's, Rubis locations on the Saturday, Buy Smart, Books and Books, Next Chapter, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, we got you covered.
We got you covered.
And actually, it's also the Sister Islands. So we've got the Sister Islands working with us. They've always brought in a pretty penny as well. So it's just a really good way to make money, but very simply, with everyone getting involved and everyone really taking ownership of it and being part of it. It's just such a fun weekend.
That's the part that I think for me is important. That it doesn't matter how much we give. It's not about giving each other unless it's a little competition amongst ourselves. It's about a collective impact and contribution, and to know that this thing, when added together, means so much more. I mean,
exactly.
I think of some of your your clientele in the villas. We come to visit them sometimes. That's a joy for the family to know that they have this facility, and even the person. And those reading days, you can see the comfort. You can see the level of ease with which the family is getting to appreciate, what transpires.
It's also a really beautiful facility. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been in the Villa, Sterling, but it's such
not as a patient, but
it's such a special place. I mean, I walk in there and thinking, I just love this, but it's so serene and peaceful. Again, it was a massive community effort in itself to get where we are. We've come a long way over the years from different Conchshell House, off near the airport here for a while. And we've got this beautiful villa, and it's just, it's a beautiful place to spend time in, whether you're a patient or whether you're a family member.
You can actually take a villa tour on our website now. We have like a virtual tour, so you can kind of see the family room where we've got like coloring books and crayons if you've got grandkids coming in, or a TV or a massage chair. You can see the patient rooms and kind of see how beautifully they're appointed in the gardens and all of that.
I want to make sure, because last year and the year before were 2 long centuries, and I was thinking that the garden club had a function there once on the back. And the reason why I say that is that here is something that's become a community space. We know us, the use and really access of the space, but as a community to be able to use it in that way, it shows that it is part of what we are.
Absolutely. And again, you say the garden club, it's been lots of different variety. We also have Light Up a Life there now, but other functions that we do, it has
we do that too.
Jasmine. We do it, Jasmine. But also we've had a wedding there for one of our patients, and there's so many. It's such a multi-purpose building, and it's such a beautiful building that it can be used for a number of different things. And it's the villa's obviously closed off, so it's slightly separated, but it's it's a really special place. It
is, and it gave me a sort of a renewed appreciation for life. It's weird when people see that, but you see so many times when people get to this place in their life, it's a path we all traverse, right? And someone reminded me the other day that we need to make more time to say at birthdays and every day what we say at funerals or after.
Absolutely. Gratitude, daily gratitude is so important.
It is, man, for ourselves, but for those that mean something to us. And
to show that love before, you don't have them in front of you anymore.
That's what it's better to be, to love and lost than never to love at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, time is one of those things. It's, I think a lot of people used to look at hospice and think it's for elderly people. I'm like, no, our patients are very, very mixed in ages, different backgrounds, cultures, ethnicity, and so forth. It's it comes to all of us at a certain time. And so I think it's one of those things to appreciate everything you do have when you've got it.
And beyond hospice, just even the palliative care, being able to have a Jasmine nurse kind of on that journey with you for months, as you're kind of battling this disease. Maybe it's just someone to bounce ideas off of, or
and to give you ideas, because again, if you're not a medical person, you're living with this.
And are you stressed? Let us get a masseuse in here.
And that's the thing that I've seen over in particular the last 10 plus years, is that you meet someone today and 10 years on, you still know that when you see that person and you've developed an affinity, an affection, there's a connection, a relationship, and you appreciate life even more. So that masseuse has come in handy. That particular book that was, hey, this was interesting to read.
Right.
And little things that are lasting.
Well, so much of care is not just the physical body.
Right.
It's the soul, it's the spirit, it's the emotional experience of going through needing this level of care. And I think that's where Jasmine can really make an incredible impact with things like music therapy and pet therapy and masseuse, Reiki. I mean, those kinds of things might seem strange to some or a little bit off the wall, but if it works, it works.
And it's a menu, so you choose whatever you want. And again, it's all free of charge. So it's just such a... And even for our nurses, obviously, our fundraising staff, it's critical that they get the help they need, because obviously they're around this all day, every day. And it's not a depressing place to be. I've always loved being in that building. But making sure that they're getting the help they need. So we do yoga. I know we have a volunteer who does yoga with them on a regular basis. And there's always that kind of carer of the carers as well. So making sure it's holistic to it's absolutely every level.
Well, one thing that I think you both, and this is the first public discussion we had, Ms. Anzo, I hope we have more.
Absolutely.
But, Nurse Felicia and all of you've reminded me personally that as much as I love life, there's more life to love. And if you approach it with a sense of joy and appreciation and hopeful expectation, you can get to that place. But I don't think we understand the caregiver, that parent who's given to the other parent or to the sibling who's given. We need to see that they're taken care of. You care for them, because you can run them ragged without question.
Support, and you do it very quickly in that kind of in that situation. You really do. I mean, I'm talking about my own experience. My mother-in-law is a nurse. She's always had been a nurse, but of course it changes when you're looking after your loved one. It's a very different scenario, and you also, you really do want to be there as the wife and not as the carer, because it's a very different role, and you have a period of time left. You want to make sure you're using it in the best possible way.
Yeah, man. It is something that I'm hoping as we look out, Flag Day weekend, Flag weekend. I'm always mindful of your time, but as we conclude the discussion, what do you want to share with our listeners? How can we help, or what more can we do? And of course, we'll come on in future discussions.
Absolutely. So, just in the way of Flag Day, pull up those couch cushions. See if you've got 25 cents stuck in the couches. The big thing is volunteer, donate, fundraise. If you don't have time to volunteer, can you find a little bit to donate? No amount is too big or too small. If you can't find a little bit to donate, can you do something to fundraise? We've got all sorts of different things. Companies are doing dress down days. We've got kids doing lemonade stands. We've got people doing all sorts of their own creative thing that kind of works in their own life to say, I've contributed in some way to this massive grassroots community initiative. Beyond the Flag Day, Jasmine is always looking for volunteers specifically for events, looking for professional services, things like, even just social media help, that kind of stuff. There's always different ways to get involved. And then absolutely being a not-for-profit organization that relies completely on the generosity of the Cayman Spirit for our full budget, donations are always very much appreciated.
Volunteer, donate,
Yeah.
fundraise.
Play, live and love, or whatever.
Live,
volunteer,
love.
yeah, whatever. I think it is just that. Volunteering is such an important aspect, and it doesn't cost you necessarily anything. But also from the other side of things, if you are a family member or a patient potentially of ours, or maybe in the future, again, we're here to sort of demystify what we do. I think one of my biggest things when hospice was Cayman Hospice Care at the time before it became Jasmine was first introduced me through my granny, I had this sort of vision of nurses being in sort of like death reapers kind of thing. It's so different. The actual you've met Nurse Fifi, but all the nurses. everything about Jasmine is much. It's just lighter and easier. And
so, what life?
It's about life, and I think that's a really important thing. It's like, we are here to work together. We're here to work with the families to make sure that they get what they need in the situation at the time they need it in. But don't leave it too late, because again, we can do so much from a palliative perspective. It's not just about end-of-life care. There's so much support we can give leading up to it, and a long time out of it, from our palliative holistic services that again are all free of charge.
Well, I thank you for that, and it's not just me deliberately trying to know more, but having people who had, like you, a perspective, and now they're better informed. But as a society, we may or may not choose, we may or may not want it, but if someone else can benefit, we can make a contribution. Whether it's 25 million, 25,000, hey, $25,
25 cents.
25 cents.
Yeah.
It all makes a difference.
And if you do donate this weekend, make sure you keep your sticker on, otherwise you may get asked again.
Okay.
So if you change your T-shirt, make sure you keep it on, because you will get asked. So please don't get upset with us. Obviously, it's just for a great cause, and we want to get as much money as we can this weekend.
I knew a buddy who would deliberately
take it off.
No. Yeah. He would get one and say, no, put another one. And one day we teased him, do you have that many stains in your shirt you're trying to hide? But it was an honor for him, right? And
Absolutely.
He would put them on, and the lady said, okay, you've got too many stickers here. We need to give it to somebody else. So
as long as he's giving money every time, I have no problem
every
with
time. And he was like that. It wasn't just to brag. He was just so happy to give because he understood the benefit of it.
This is the only time all year that you will see Jasmine volunteers in the streets.
Yeah.
This is our big push for community awareness. This is your chance to, anyone in blue will have at least a base understanding of what Jasmine is and what we offer, and then they'll also have my contact information. Okay. So if anybody...
Any questions, we're here to... Yeah.
Absolutely. If you just want to know, they'll have my contact information. I'm always at the office.
Well, we certainly enjoyed previous years of the discussion. We'll do the same going forward. And may this weekend not just be a resounding financial success, but one that the society understands that, come hand in together, or we make it stronger. So, Stanley, always a pleasure. Man.
Always a pleasure, Stanley. I think twice in one day, it's really good to see you, man. Really
well, you know what? For those who were wondering, it was early and we were working, okay? I don't know how you do it, man, but I'm glad to be a part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, Ms. Hansa.
Thank you, Sterling.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
It's going to be a
Very
great time for
excited
it.
to be here.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Flag Day weekend,
25 and 26, Friday and Saturday.
Oh, man. Good day.
Here we go.
Tuesday.
Here we go.
All right. Please continue to support Jasmine, as they've shared, support all of the wonderful charities. All right, we're going to pause and take a break. Miss Susan's going to rustle up some custard up cornbread. So when we come back, I'll tell you how good it was. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Personal finance radio show and podcast in the Cayman Islands, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Tune in to Money Sense this Thursday at 7:30 a.m. as we talk with Tony Travers about the EU blacklisting and Cayman's current standing in the international community. Follow us on Twitter and tweet your questions to @MoneySense Radio, in partnership with the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by the Cayman Islands Chamber Pension Plan. Catch Money Sense this Thursday at 7:30 a.m.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years.
So much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Wave your country flag, sport your favorite jersey, show off that national costume, or channel your inner majesty with a salute to the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. It's Dress for Culture Day with a Majesty theme, Friday, March 11th, brought to you by the Cultural Foundation as part of K-Fest 2022. Celebrate Cayman's cultural melting pot with a Dress Down fundraiser, open to schools, businesses, and individuals for donations of just $5 for adults, $3 for students. Visit artscayman.org for more information.
The 2022 Cayman Arts Festival is pleased to showcase their newest feature with the K Forte String Quartet featuring Sarah Newman, Harriet Henley, Joan Tamayo and Antonio Sanchez, performing Baroque-era pieces by Handel, Bach, Corelli, Vivaldi, Telemann and Purcell. Fall in love with the passionate quartets of the violins, a viola and cello. Thursday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. Tickets are US $40 for adults and $10 for students. For more information or to purchase tickets, please contact enquiries at caymanartsfestival.com or call 922-5550. The K Forte String Quartet, Thursday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush. For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.com or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a new and second location in Governor's Square. The new Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor's Square is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. If the clock on the wall is correct, if that rhythm, in your heart feels just a little bit more special, and even though it's not Valentine's, because love is in the air, they say. Yeah, that agape love that we should harbor. We talk about, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we need to be that village that draws alongside those parents that parent each other's children together, making sure that they are safe, that they are nurtured, that they feel, a sense of love. Well, share that love with me, and let's share it with Jasmine this weekend as part of their Flag Day weekend, and continue to give, recognizing that many times we find ourselves in a space, in a place where we could draw alongside others and help them through that difficult, path. So, share, celebrate, live, love, laugh, and learn. 949-8037, 949-8037. Or if you wish, well, use the Flow toll-free line, 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, as a way to share a little bit of love, well, the Cayman Arts Festival, there's a nice, wonderful event coming up at the National Gallery on Thursday at 7 p.m. We have a ticket, the Cayman Forte String Quartet. We want you to at least feel a sense of love. So in partnership with our sales team and the Cayman Arts Festival, we're going to give that ticket away in a bit to someone. It may just be you. So you can call and share a thought with us. Now, in that vein, we want to share some other things with you as well as we move about our community and the like. A few weeks back, I referenced something that because of maybe the environment, but specifically because of the two individuals in particular that had broached the subject, I then shared it, and one person of the two, one of the two said, "Well, I heard you say it," and after I listened to it, I thought, hopefully people didn't think you were being disrespectful. And I said, well, I didn't intend. He said, no, you didn't sound so, and it had to do with both relocating the, and construction of police stations, and the idea of perhaps a new residence for the governor. And the individual says, when he first suggested it, he thought of it from this perspective. If you think of embassies sometime across the globe, he had been traveling a bit and, got him to be in certain places. And there was a particular place where the embassy row, maybe it would be a good way to paint the picture. There were particular dignitaries that lived in that area, and it was redeveloped to accommodate them. And because of that, the whole area became a lot safer, perhaps even more prestigious in a sense. It almost became like a potential sightseeing tour. And he referenced where it was a deliberate, conscious effort to construct an area because the land was accessible, it was cheaper, but it would also elevate what was potentially a depressed area, economically depressed area. And something similar had been done with the police station in another jurisdiction. The police station was constructed and what was then perceived as perhaps an area where they were more prone to criminality and the like. And instead of having mobile policing units sort of stationed there, those trailers and the like, those watchtowers and the like that we may have seen in other jurisdictions, the notion was to physically, relocate the police station, and all the supporting sort of infrastructure and everything just improved the safety, but even the feel of the area. The community felt safer because the police station wasn't far. Now, he said this isn't the panacea for criminal behavior. This isn't the thing that causes all communities to feel a sense. It's when the police and the community work together. When the fellow shared that with me, I thought, well, let me relate. So your thoughts, if we were, as we are considering, we see a sign for those who drive in certain areas, and in particular the bottom of the road as you get to what may be either for some the beginning of the bypass and there's still a little bit, or maybe the termination point now. There's a sign not far from the Church of Christ, coming soon, the new Westbury Police Station. Not just that it's an area where they require some level of fill, their demand grows, and seasonal sort of drainage areas. But would it be better to build that, as the fellow suggested, elsewhere? Maybe more central for the district, maybe in an area that would bring a greater sense of community. Now, in saying that, come back to what the fellow said. Hopefully people won't see that as either political or, more importantly for me, offensive. But what is your thought? Should schools, be closer to homes and communities, and should the police stations be, that much more central and more meaningful, integral part of a community? Well, you let me know and see what you think. 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. And seemingly, not that there is any discussion publicly about relocating the residents for our governors, but should that be something? Should it be somewhere in town where you look at it, you build, what was the word that was used a lot by the last administration? Bespoke, a custom-built, purpose-built, facility to house visiting dignitaries, to be able to hold, as needed discussions, maybe mediation between different governments, used in a way that is beneficial. Think of our constitutional talks. Well, instead of being held in halls, they could be held at that facility. There could be other things, as we have UK parliamentarians and other members from the FCO visit even other jurisdictions. It could be a place to house them as well, ensuring their security and safety, ensuring that they're much more easily accommodated. It's just a thought. Well, 949-837, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp, 925-3261. Those are just the two things I wanted to ensure that, in deference to what the gentleman shared with me after he had heard a comment, and he did say, you sit back a while and I never got around to bring it to your attention. Well, he remembered it, made a note, and it was important enough, so maybe you'll take it on board. When we come back, I want to hear from you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Subway makes it easy for you to stay on top of your health and wellness goals with our Fresh Fit menu options. Choose from 5 Fresh Fit Subway sandwiches with only 450 calories or less per 6-inch sub. Turkey breast, veggie, oven roasted chicken, Black Forest ham, sweet onion chicken teriyaki, or make your 6-inch Fresh Fit sub into a salad or wrap prepared with fresh vegetables. For a full menu and nutritional information, visit subway.ky. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers and the motoring public of emergency sewage works along Watler Drive. These works are anticipated to last 2 weeks. During these works, access to Watler Drive will be restricted to local access only from Helen Drive. Traffic management measures will be in place to direct traffic flow, and all motorists are being asked to drive with caution when in the area. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it undertakes these works, and do apologize for any inconvenience caused.
Cocoa Fest is back at Pedro St. James, Saturday, February 26, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Enjoy crafts, games, music, coconut-inspired food and treats, health and beauty products, and enjoy local cooks, craftsmen, artisans, and farmers through a shared love for the Cayman coconut. Entry is $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Children 5 and under are free. Cocoa Fest will be adhering to all government regulations to keep our visitors safe. So, go coconuts at Cocoa Fest, Saturday, February 26. Sponsored by Fidelity, Pepsi, Ministry of Culture and Heritage, High Impact Media, Cayman Spirits, and ATV Cayman.
The coconut nut is a giant nut.
Money Sense is the only personal finance radio show and podcast in the Cayman Islands, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Tune in to Money Sense this Thursday at 7:30 a.m. as we talk with Tony Travers about the EU, blacklisting, and Cayman's current standing in the international community. Follow us on Twitter and tweet your questions to @MoneySense Radio, in partnership with the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by the Cayman Islands Chamber Pension Plan. Catch Money Sense this Thursday at 7:30 a.m.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. It's going to be some open line as we want to enjoy the afternoon together with you and have you share your thoughts with us. It's open line. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, WhatsApp 925-3261. Well, what do you think? What's on your mind? Where is it that we should be going? To what extent are you even able to pay attention to what's happening and spend time thinking with a sense of purpose and a sense of importance relative to what we should be saying and doing to improve it now and for the future, both the safety and the security, add to the sanity and the stability. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. But it's, something to contemplate as I look back at the message from the fellow who gave us the thought of, constructing, 2 facilities like that, of its importance to the community in terms of adding increased value. But you may have a different perspective, and hopefully you do it as we move on. Now, this other message speaks to something a little bit more. Well, let me read it for you. And says certain laws have no teeth. The Public Health Act, for instance, fails to address certain problems. Good example is that there is an existing situation where some 6 vaults have been made and have found a plot, and we are fighting to get this sorted out. We are told that this is the second time that such a thing has happened. The remains of our ancestors were dug up, and what became of them? Apparently, the wrongdoers made no contact with the Department of Environmental Health for permission to do their vaults and selected the wrong spots. Now we are faced with having to have this serious situation resolved on our own. Imagine now if a family member was to pass away, and losing his or her spot in our family plot. Trying to have this resolved in a peaceful manner, but so far no remorse is being shown by the wrongdoers. Imagine having to fight over what is rightfully a plot that is over 80 years old. And I think, this speaks to the challenges that the country is recognizing relative to burial spaces and places to bury our loved ones. We know that in the UK, as we're told, in Barbados and in other jurisdictions, of their policy relative to burial sites, and after a period of time, what transpires. Some of you are perhaps more familiar with that than the rest of us. But we know that in a Cayman context, like in many places, if the graves are maintained from generation to generation, you can go, as we are able to, in many of our cemeteries, and see graves that have been marked from the 1800s. That may not be as uncommon, in many jurisdictions, but increasingly, perhaps because of the limited land space, maybe it is an issue here. Now, as we build new cemeteries, should we be considering, other measures? Should we, like, the call to build higher buildings to accommodate offices and residences and hotels and the like, should we be looking at, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7, high within a family plot in a responsible, respectful, safe manner? We see those in other jurisdictions. Could there be something that would work here? Now, just a suggestion would offend some people, and for others, they would say, well, why isn't it done that way? You build 3, 4, 5-story, 10-story buildings for residences, as well as for, commercial and tourism-related entities. Why not, build a few, vaults and stack, 3, 4 up as they are in other places? Now, is that a conversation we have? I must share that without their prompting, if I might just, again, given the respect and the responsiveness that we've seen thus far from the director and his team at DEH, there's a caller who asked about the spot cemetery, and potentially could we make the access not just a lot safer for all who visit, but at times of a funeral and a burial, make sure that the road isn't impeded, and those that are going, given that they're probably in a state of grief, they may not necessarily be as attentive to their personal safety. Well, the director and his team have been very, very receptive to considering what is being suggested, being very respectful and timely in their response. And I think that epitomizes the core of the civil service, and that, I think, bodes well for our society. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, after our news break, as part of our way of continuing to share the love, to partner with Cayman Arts Festival and a wonderful sales team, we want to offer one of our listeners a complimentary ticket to the Cayman Forte String Quartet production at the National Gallery on Thursday at 7 p.m. So we got a ticket for you. And I was flipping a coin, and I said, should you get the person who wins it to sing, to see if they sing better than Susan? Or, can they take the photographs as well as her, or even write the poetry? But we said, nah, we're going to make it easier for you, because very few of us would be able to come up to that standard. So we're going to have that ticket to one of our listeners, and we'll tell you how you might be that lucky recipient. Just another way to say thanks and to say we do love, respect, and appreciate all of our wonderful listeners. Now, here's a number that we want you to have, because it works so wonderful for Talk Today as it does for our morning show, For the Record. If you start your day out on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday listening to For the Record with Mr. Hart, you're going to be informed and engaged, and it helps you to go through the day with a sense of purpose and a sense of, what, I need to contribute. So it's 1-800-534-8255. That's a toll-free call with the compliments of flow. If you like some of us, who want to be a little more efficient with our digits, well, that's 949-8037. It's not going to cost you a lot, but man, the contribution you make would be invaluable. In that sense of being able to share something would even be that much more beneficial, because the wider community gets to hear what you have to say. All right, so after the news break we go. When we return, more open line here on Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The new schedule is out for parents looking to get their 5 to 11-year-olds vaccinated against COVID-19. The childhood vaccination clinics are by appointment only, and public health nurses will be administering the vaccines at dedicated clinics. Appointments can be made by contacting the public health clinic at 926-8152 in Grand Cayman or 244-7643 in the Sister Islands. For the full schedule, head to hsa.ky. In international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered troops into 2 rebel-held regions in eastern Ukraine after recognizing them as independent states. Russia said the troops have not yet been deployed but will be peacekeeping in the regions, which it has backed since 2014. The U.S. said calling them peacekeepers was nonsense and accused Russia of creating a pretext for war. Germany has put a stop to a key Russian gas pipeline following Vladimir Putin's orders to send troops into Ukraine. On Monday, the Russian president recognized 2 breakaway Ukrainian regions as independent states and ordered Russian troops to deploy to both. In response, Germany halted approval of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and other Western nations issued sanctions. OnlyFans has been accused of conspiring to blacklist the social media accounts of adult performers working for rival websites, BBC News has learned. Legal documents previously unreported claim OnlyFans directed an unidentified social media company to disable accounts of performers by placing their content on a terrorism database. It is alleged that OnlyFans representatives paid bribes to the firm's employees to facilitate the practice. OnlyFans said it is aware of the legal claim and it has no merit. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
The liquor licensing boards of Grand Cayman and the Sister Islands advise liquor and music and dancing licensees that normal permitted hours are now in effect. License holders are reminded to follow the operating terms and conditions listed on their licenses, which specify what their opening and closing hours should be. For more details, please call the Department of Commerce and Investment on 945-0943 in Grand Cayman and 948-2400 in the Sister Islands, or email info@dci.gov.ky.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be open line as we go straight to the phones. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and good afternoon to everybody.
Hey, Mr. Raymond, sir. How are you today?
Just taking lunch hour from hard work, doing excavator work. Just taking a break now.
Well-deserved break, but I'm glad that you can enjoy it and take a minute to give us a call.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot. I would like to say a big happy birthday to my brother, Captain Radley, which celebrates his birthday today, being the last and only tanker docking mooring master left from the...
Wow.
He's still active, but he's on duty. He's in Freeport, Bahamas right now, waiting to dock a tanker this evening.
Wow. Happy birthday to him, yes.
Yes, surely. And he's going on board a 600-footer, like the size of the Rubis tankers.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, it will be loading jet fuel, which the ship is arriving at 4 o'clock this evening, coming from Saudi Arabia, loaded with jet fuel for Port Everglades, Florida. And they're shipping about 220,000 barrels from a 75,000 tonner, from a 750-footer to a 600-footer. The 600-footer will load from the 750-footer, take it to Port Everglades, Florida. That's to provide the Miami airports and all those places in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Jet fuel from Saudi Arabia, that's a very popular thing now. United States, New York imports a lot of gasoline and diesel and jet fuel from India as well. And on the other hand, we talked last week about the mega structures.
Mm-hmm.
How many times you heard me on here talking about mega structures passing Grand Cayman? Another one is coming by again on Friday morning.
Wow.
It's over a $1 billion oil platform, oil drilling a platform owned by Shell Oil Company. And it's sitting on almost a super tanker size ship. Oh, first of all, are you hearing me clearly?
We are. Well, yeah.
When I used to have the cheaper phones, I used to get better results. Now I got a smartphone. Sometimes it gives improper results, not efficient at all sometimes. Depend on the location, though. I'm sitting right by the seaside here at my place on the hill. Are you hearing me good?
Very clearly, sir. Very clearly.
Yeah, okay, fine. So that ship, Mighty Servant 1, is carrying this monster oil rig on its deck. Brand new, built in Singapore. And it's going to be moored off southeast of Louisiana. That's New Orleans, about 189 miles southeast of New Orleans in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's going to produce like 100,000 barrels of oil a day, suck it out of the seabed, out of the under ocean, and pump it to pipelines or pump it to tankers. So the size of this platform, just the accommodations, the hotel section on it to hold the crew members, it weighs 9,000 tons. They build that as one big piece, and then they lift it on with the giant cranes in Singapore. And they're going into Ingleside, Texas, where they will put on additional structures on it and have it all finished, and then they will tow it out into the Gulf of Mexico. And hopefully by the end of this year, it's supposed to be pumping, producing oil. Also, I know the Guyanese community would be, let's make them know what's happening with their country. They have the second giant floating storage production unit just arrived there recently in Guyana. They're giant storage tankers that the pipeline from the ocean out of the seabed is connected to the giant tanker, sucking it right out of the oil wells and then pumping it, sucking it and filling up the tanker, and then another tanker docks alongside and takes the oil. And quite interesting, the first shipment of Guyanese crude oil, the first one in history, past the Grand Cayman going to Texas. When they started, that was more than a year ago when they started the first shipment. Now they have the second. Brand new tanker just came there, and she started producing oil last Friday. They made history with the Lisa Unity. They have the Lisa Destiny was the first one. Now the Lisa Unity, and now they have the Lisa Prosperity coming to Guyana. But that's a booming thing. They said it. 11 billion barrels of oil in reserve. It's roughly about 120 20 miles from Georgetown, Guyana, way out there in the Atlantic. I mean, in the sea, far away from Guyana. You can't see nothing, know nothing what's going on, only by radar. So that's a booming business. They're loading tankers left and right from the storage tanker there in Guyana. Also, back to my brother, Captain Radley. He just got his captain's license renewed and his mooring master's license renewed. And I was thinking if anyone in the Cayman Islands was interested in learning to be a mooring master, what a highly paying job. Not for him, because he's underpaid actually, but I know some people getting up to $1,000 a day for docking tankers, $30,000 a month. If before my brother retires, maybe in June or by the end of this year, hopefully, if we could arrange to get some Caymanian youngster, school leaver or something that is interested in that, and get the company to employ them as an assistant mooring master to my brother, and get him to teach them exactly what he does, so that we can maintain this mooring master job of a Caymanian seaman. That's what I would like to see happen. I mean, I could become one very easily, but I was an assistant for 6 years with all the mooring masters around. I could become one. It takes a brave person. You got to have good nerves when those tankers are coming alongside.
Yeah, Mr. Raymond, if I could ask you, because I think your suggestion, many times we don't appreciate the opportunities that are there. We don't understand sometimes what is required of us. Now, as you were sharing, your brother's experience, expertise, and his, consistent, application. For that person who would want to take this up as a career, two things. What sort of skills would they need?
Once someone has some maritime knowledge, went to sea before, well, a beginner from a school leaver, that would be a different thing.
Right.
But there is an opportunity where they would take on just someone that doesn't have any previous experience as a cadet or a trainee, like for a school leaver. But people that are already sailed on ships before as mates or captains or anything, any rating, bosun or anything, mainly with that kind of thing, and how certificates, that makes it a lot easier. But also you can get a job and be appointed as a cadet, as a beginner, as a trainee, assistant mooring master, and then you can work your way up with your knowledge. That's what I would like to see happen before my brother packs it up and retires, and nobody else in the Cayman Islands. Captain Arlen McCoy, he was the last one from Grand Cayman, and that's Captain Arlen is no more at sea. He's retired and finished from that. So Captain Radley is the last one of all the Caymanian seamen, and I would like to see someone take up that and continue it. And it's very good pay. My brother was offered $1,000 a day, but he was with his company. He was on the contract with his company, so he couldn't accept that or leave it. But they wanted him, and they offered him $1,000 US a day. That's high pay. Mainly, you go on board the tanker and you take command from the captain, and you give total instructions on the position to put the ship, the directions to head the ship, and the speed, and to coordinate it, and get on the radio and call the other ship's mate, tell them position, headings, and all that kind of thing. And it's a very busy thing all around the world now, ship-to-ship transfers. They're doing it in Portland Bight, Jamaica. This is another thing. Jamaica is, they said, 25% methane gas powered with generating systems. Appleton Distillery and Red Stripe and all of them are running from LNG, liquefied natural gas or methane gas. And they expect to be at 80% powered by 2024 in Jamaica with a cheaper fuel a cheaper gas than we have as diesel. So Jamaica things are booming, and they're having ship-to-ship transfers almost every day off Kingston Harbour. And Kingston and the Bight there, Portland Bight, where they have the big tanker anchor that they transship the natural gas for the power stations. So that's a booming thing. Same thing Grand Cayman could have become in the future. They actually loads tankers in Portland Bight from the big mothership, the storage tanker, and sends it to other islands in the Caribbean. So if Grand Cayman ever went to, which we need to, yes, LNG. LNG engines is more efficient, it's cleaner burning fuel, and it's a cheaper burning fuel, and most islands in the Caribbean now are considering doing it. Dominican Republic has many places, power plants powered by LNG, and many other places in the Caribbean. So Grand Cayman and even Cayman Brac, you would have a large storage tanks and pump it ashore the same way that they pump ashore the diesel. That would be a way of getting electricity rates lowered, going to LNG rather than diesel-powered generating systems. That's something that needs significant.
Yes, sir. Well, as you have shared, I mean, it's important that we look at the maritime heritage, we look at the environmental considerations of the consumption of the resources. Again, publicly, we're joining you, Mr. Raymond, and wishing, Captain Scott, your brother, a wonderful, safe, blessed birthday. With great respect, sir, let us just pause this next scheduled break. And when we come back, we can continue the discussion with all the listeners. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Well, give us a shout. We got a ticket for you as well. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Government's new recruitment portal offers job seekers a paperless online process that makes it easy to apply for more than one job anywhere, anytime. With this step forward in our online recruitment presence, you can keep track of outstanding applications and appointments and receive notifications about your applications. Visit the careers.gov.ky portal and use the new one-stop shop for civil service recruitment to further your career.
As seniors, we owe it to each other to stay safe and healthy through this pandemic. Let's make sure that our COVID-19 vaccinations are up to date, including getting boosters, and be aware of your surroundings so that we can manage the conditions that make us more vulnerable. Remember, we're in this together. So do your part. Get boosted. You can visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus to learn some more.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note. You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Hey, the next caller, if you're interested in a ticket to the Cayman Arts Festival, Cayman Forte String Quartet performance at the National Gallery this Thursday, 7 p.m., we would like to say how much we love you, share love, and say thanks. So give us a call and we'll happily, share with you this complimentary ticket in a space, in a place, and in a time in human history where we would not necessarily have imagined we could find ourselves, in this. Well, it's good to be able to get out and celebrate. We're seeing increasingly, public discussions relative to how we can make sure that life gets better. The importance was one of the Canadian provinces talking about the need to make sure that we attend our children's games and school performances and productions that we love and hug and celebrate with our families, so that we remember the importance of human interaction, the need to carefully pay attention to our health and well-being, our mental, our physical, our spiritual, our psychological health. So these events are great. All right, let's go to the phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Very blessed and thankful. How about you?
I'm grateful, so grateful. I would
Amen.
just like to say thank you to that gentleman who keeps providing us up to date with those valuable information. Really appreciate it. One day my daughter asked me, she heard about it, and then she asked me, and then she was hoping for the day when she could have really heard him, but she's at school right now, so I did record some of his information just to pass it on to her. So I just want to say thank you to him.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, two things. If you would, when your daughter is home, it's convenient for you guys. You can sit and you can listen to us on YouTube. So she can go on and hear his call. He did it after the 2 o'clock sort of hour. So you'll be able to, if you want to, narrow it down to that section. So just, go to YouTube. You can subscribe to the Radio Cayman. Is that the channel it's called? All that social media stuff. And I want to say publicly, thank you for acknowledging Mr. Raymond's, not just his contributions to the maritime, history, but his tidbits, so informative. So thank you for that. No?
Very. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You
God
too.
bless.
God bless. And thanks for that caller. We say give flowers while people can appreciate it, and for her to take a second and publicly acknowledge, not just for her, but for her daughter, as a student, her appreciation for getting this. Like so many of us, we appreciate something, but we don't feel we have time to say thanks. Like someone else, we take so much for granted. If Mr. Raymond, like so many, didn't take time to share bits and pieces, and if we didn't take a second to step aside and go, you know what, I knew that, but it's good to hear it again. Oh, no, I didn't know that. And for some, it's not just general knowledge. It is informative. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good afternoon. How are you, Mr. Raymond?
Yes, sir, right here.
Right here. Good place to be.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I want to say you hopefully heard it, but a lady just called on behalf of her daughter, wanted to share her thanks and appreciation, her gratitude for the information that you relate to us so often relative to the vessels and the structures, traversing our waterways,
Yes, sir. Thanks very much. And I must say about the cruise ships now, they're passing Grand Cayman very often. In fact, Norwegian Escape is out to the north of Grand Cayman now, about 16 miles going to Jamaica, coming from Cozumel. Yeah, they pass by very often now. Just about every port in the Caribbean is open up to the cruise ships. Very active. Also, I want to say that while at work on Saturday, back to the emergencies, as my phone, like I always told people, I sleep with my phone 5 feet away from my head because I'm an emergency response person, like a doctor or a policeman or something like that, was saving lives at sea. On Saturday, I was in my dump truck working hard, and I got a call from Cayman Coast Guard. So I said, excuse me, I'm in the dump truck, and I have to pull off the road to talk with you. So what that was, they received a distress call from a tanker named Alpha, which was 15 miles off Cayman Brac, and nobody knew what was the situation on board, what the emergency was. So I parked my truck quickly, and I flagged down someone to take me home from my job site, leaving my job site because I know what this important thing of me being here to find out what's happening at sea is. That's what we've been talking about for so many years. And I hitched a ride home, well, not to my place, to my mother's place where the radio communications are. Got a radio called the Andino Alpha, traffic control. I said, what is the problem with your ship? We have received a call saying that you have a distress on board your ship. And what it was, the facts was about it, they were testing their distress calls on Inmarsat. That's the worldwide maritime communications for ships for distress, EPIRB sending out distress alerts. They were testing theirs, and it came in as a legitimate distress signal. So the authorities and Coast Guard, that's in Miami and other places, and the Coast Guard in Grand Cayman called me, and as I said, I left the job site, hurried to the house, got on the radio and called the ship, and within 10 minutes I found out what it was. They said that there was nothing wrong on board our ship, that we were doing a test, and the test went out as a legitimate distress signal. It didn't mean anything. They were only testing. So,
but Mr. Raymond, in that instance, for those of us who don't know, in an instance like that, is it normal for the vessel to ensure that the requisite authorities know that they're now conducting a test? Similar to, you're in a building and the fire alarm is being tested, the people in the building know that you're going to be conducting a fire drill, a fire test for alarm at this time. Is it normal for vessels to inform the surrounding Coast Guards and the requisite authorities that they're conducting a test, so that this isn't flagged as a distress signal when it's only a test?
Yes, exactly correct. They're supposed to alert on the same communications that we are doing a test. It's not a legitimate SOS call or a Mayday call or vessel in distress.
Right.
This is the first time in my communications of the 42 years that I've been doing it that particular Inmarsat communicator went out as a fake or false distress signal. Anyway, I confirmed with the Indian officer that everything on board was fine, and they were carrying ethanol from New Orleans to Montego Bay, Jamaica. They have cars and trucks and vans that are running on ethanol.
Right. So, Mr. Raymond,
gaseous liquid made from yellow corn greens.
Yeah. But before you go, if I could ask you, in this instance, do you know whether any other entity was able to verify, just for, thinking of the old audit trails, just to verify that in fact, what the vessel did relate to you was in fact, also confirmed by another entity, just to make sure that, it wasn't anything?
No. It was only me that made the contact with the vessel and taking the mate's word that it was a false test. It was a legitimate test, but a false SOS or a false Mayday, false distress call. The mate of the ship advised me that. He said, I repeatedly asked, do you have any problem whatsoever on board your ship? Any sick crew member, injured crew member, engine room problem, navigational instruments problem? What was the report? You said, no, we made a test and it was taken as a legitimate...
and this was 15 miles offshore, you said?
Yeah, 15 miles northeast of the Bluff Cayman Wreck. That was on that Saturday.
Right. So, to the best of your knowledge, then, no U.S. Coast Guard or British interests or any other surrounding or helicopter or other resource wasn't deployed, just to confirm?
Correct. I don't know of anything else except my communications to confirm what the report was.
Okay. Well, sometimes intriguing things lead to wonderful stories. But before we close off, any final thoughts, Mr. Raymond?
I wishing everybody all the best and be careful and have a very happy afternoon.
You too, sir. And again, as you celebrate, with your brother, even from a distance, at least you celebrate together. Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond.
Yeah, thank you too. Okay, all the best.
All the best. All the best. We live on an island, no man is an island, but together we make a beautiful island. Out of the three, we can indeed respect and recognize our individual differences, but our collective worth. To tomorrow's another day, and our prayer and petition is that we indeed will be a very productive, instrumental part of it. But until we look to tomorrow, let us recognize that we are a part of today. As much as we plan to prepare for the future, let's embrace and enjoy the now. Make it not a space and place that we take, but a conscious effort to give and to contribute in a loving, nurturing, profound, a positive way. So listen to what the songs that Miss Susan will play. Stay tuned for the Super Jam between the 3 and the 6. And of course the news hour up until 7. And then of course you got an hour between 7 and 8 where some interesting songs are played. You might be mindful of what transpires. And if you happen to be like some of us that can catch the Music Express, last Friday evening, man, there were a couple of good songs that I tried to sing along, and I had to be careful that those listening might have thought, I wonder if his interests have gone further afield. They might have, but that's for a story for another day. Sometimes we should kiss and tell as we play. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Shaken yet standing firm.